everyone. My name is Sarah Jama, and I'm an organizer with the Disability Justice Network of Ontario. And I'm here to talk to you about the broader context around disability justice. To me, the disability justice means that we need to move away from the capitalist focus of understandings around access. That means that disabled people want more than just access to stores and ramps to stores so that we can buy things and expand our economic purchasing power. The truth is, many people with disabilities can't work and shouldn't have to in order to be seen as valuable. Our ability to produce shouldn't dictate our ability to survive, but the confines of our current system have been built to discard anyone who can't produce. So take, for example, Heronia, the Aurelia Asylum for Idiots, and how people with disabilities were forcibly institutionalized, and the Alberta Sterilization Act, where people with disabilities and Indigenous women were forcibly sterilized without their will, their knowledge, or their consent. We see these forms of structural violence in our present day as well. So their funding for prenatal screening of Down syndrome has more investment nationally than the funding with for adults with Down syndrome, for example. And I'm pro-choice, but the decisions in terms of systemic erasure of entire populations financially is a form of modern day eugenics. Take, for example, police violence, the killings of DeAndre Campbell, Abdirahman Abdi, and Solomon Fakiri, as well as Andrew Loku, all people with disabilities who are Black or racialized, who were killed when they should have been given proper mental health supports, who were killed while waiting for proper mental health supports in this country. Take, for example, the Canadian emergency response benefits and the ways the government said out of one side of their mouths that people are worth $2,000 a month at least, and yet people with disabilities are still legislated into poverty, still making a little bit of under $1,000 a month, not able to pay for food and rent at the same time, legislated into being poor. Take, for example, almost like about how almost all the deaths in terms of COVID in Canada have been disabled people in long-term care homes, and how in a lot of these long-term care homes, people with disabilities are often being abused. Take, for example, medical assistance in dying legislation that's coming out in December, where there was a removal of the foreseeable death portion. This idea that people with disabilities can now apply to die with a doctor helping them out, even if they're not on the way to dying, right? And so our government is prioritizing this idea that disabled people who are not able to produce should be locked away in a long-term care home or be able to access death, right? Instead of allowing the financial supports to be able to support disabled people in living free and equal lives in this country. It's to the benefit of those empowered to ignore these connections and to discuss and to not discuss disposability culture that's mandated in our policies. When writing about disability and focusing on disability, as writers and authors, and all of you listening today, it's important to remember that our existence is inherently political. We, by existing, point out the deep flaws in the current systems that are structured around disposability, and we are not side characters to your plots and your narratives and your stories. We're here despite systems that keep telling us that we shouldn't be. Thank you.